Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a very special project for the boat going on today because we finally got a motor, and it is that guy right there. It's a 250 horse Yamaha. Had about 1,000 hours on it, and it was a good deal. So today we are going to be swapping that out from this blown up piece of crap. I haven't done this before, so this is going to be a little bit of a learning trial and error, because we also have to install these vertical lift brackets, because the outboard that I got is a 30-inch shaft and this one's set up for a 25-inch shaft. So I got these from Advanced Manufacturing. They're out of Tennessee. These things look awesome. Don't lie, this whole kit was about $400. These two braces, these, and some 6-inch 3/16 stainless steel half-inch bolts for tie it all together. I might have to get some other bolts. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this lower unit to get this, to make this thing a little bit easier to manage. Then after that, I'm gonna have to pull the steering off right here. I don't know how easy that's gonna come apart, but we will find out. Hopefully not too bad, because from what I gather, I gotta use a puller to get it off. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've never done this before. So anyway, we're gonna get started, and yeah, hopefully this goes well. All right, we got the prop off. It was put in here, this Carter key, take that out. This nut was holding it on. It's 27 millimeter for my application for this Yamaha T25. The next we got to undo these 6 bolts right here, here, and here, and there, and this one up here. This holds on your anode here. That's it looks no good. And I think that's it. So, all right, just gonna get this off, and we'll be on to the next thing. Okay, aside from the 6 bolts, the one up here, forgot to mention there's one in here and one right there that we got to get out to get this lower unit off. All right, we got the lower unit off. That actually went pretty seamless. It's not looking too bad, and if this thing didn't blow up, it's whoever had this thing before really took care of it, because all the bolts are all greased up, and they didn't have any trouble getting them out. But we're gonna lower this down so we can get the hood off, and then start taking apart the rest of the stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna have to take the throttle cables, or the shift cables off, shift and throttle cables, and main wiring harness, and anything else is associated electronic. This thing is a total mess, and I'm not going to film it now. We're just swapping the motor out today. I just don't have the kind of time to go through it like I really want to, and really clean it up the way it needs to be cleaned. I just don't have that kind of time today, so it might be a while before I can get back to it. But yeah, this is not overly complicated to do, so I'm just gonna undo those, disconnect them, and start pulling all the power stuff out of the engine. All right, I got these electrical connections undone. That was pretty simple and straightforward. The shift and throttle cables undone. These are obviously gonna have to be replaced because they are just no good. Coming up here, got the fuse panel hot. This is the ground, and this is the starter solenoid. So we're gonna get those undone, and then we'll start moving on to the fuel line, oil line, and whatever else is in here. All right, so Really don't care about the fuel lines. There's an oil return line and I guess an overflow and the main supply line. I really don't care about that because I'm gonna replace it anyway. So I just clipped them. The next step is gonna be getting the steering, this hydraulic steering system off. I never messed with one of this before, so I don't know how difficult this is gonna get off, but I'm gonna start by loosening everything up and going from there. All right, so we got the steering off. There's the ram for it. Really had no trouble at all getting it off. I was quite surprised. I think the next thing to do is bring the engine lift over and start undoing the bolts and lift her on off. That one's missing because I already had to take it out to measure it to make sure I got the right ones. All right, so I'm gonna probably time lapse this and should be pretty interesting. Here we go. Alright, so I don't have a lifting eye for this thing. So what I've done, I got about 2 feet of chain and some bolts and made this. So hopefully this works. I got the highest grade metric bolt I could find. Should work. Oh, see why not. But if it doesn't, then it will fail spectacularly. Alright, so here we go. Finally gonna get this thing out of here. All right, so she's off and that wasn't too terribly hard. Looking like pretty good solid wise with the transom. Very, very happy about that because you never know what's going to happen when you pull this thing off and you're going to be dealing with rot or cracked fiberglass or whatever, but everything looks pretty good. It's obviously dirty. There she is. She is off. I'm gonna set her down. Hopefully she doesn't go anywhere, and start cleaning the transom up. And first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mock everything up for the bolts or for the lift brackets, just so I can make sure I got a correct measurement as far as the newer outboard goes. So we're gonna do that. Yeah, it's coming right along. All right, so I got this mocked up for now. There's 2 different bolt holes for this to go into. I'm not sure if these are the right ones, the ones I'm talking about. One's for here and here, and same thing down here. It's the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna have to put the motor up to it to see what's gonna work the best. This trim piece right here, I'm gonna have to fill that in with some sealant. I had to take that off and modify it back here to make get these things to fit. You can see that it turned out really nicely. Just used a hacksaw and my oscillator tool, and that cleaned up real nice. And not really worried about how ugly it looks back here because this is going to be covered up. I'd rather have it ugly looking and sealed than pretty and it leaks and rot my transom out, and that would really just ruin everything. So anyway, here we go with this. Not sure how well this is going to go, but we're going to try. So got the outboard mounted, sort of, I think to the correct height. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure these lift, the brackets here themselves are where they need to be. The only other thing I need to do is drill that hole through the transom, and I don't like to do that stuff, but I got no choice because that's what holds the outboard up. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. It's a 1/2 inch. Do that, and I think I had this mistaken, which these will actually go right here to provide clearance from these bolts, because I certainly do not have enough clearance from here to clear these bolts, and well, I need that clearance. So that should work, I hope. If not, we'll be taking this back apart and figuring it back out. So I'm not going to bore you with the drilling of that and my tears of sadness having to drill through the boat, but anyway, we're going to do that and get this thing sealed up with some the 5200 marine sealant from 3M. This stuff is disgusting, but it works really well, and we're going to start buttoning everything back up and going from there. So here we go. We are back at it. It is the next day. I didn't realize how low the battery was on the camera, and she died on me, and it's all right. But everything's buttoned up. I did have struggles with the getting this to getting at least this part to come closer and close the gap. I had to make like 2 or 3 trips back to the hardware store to get some shorter bolts, but we got it. All it's left to do now is put the steering back on, and before you put one of these on and you have the same steering, the hydraulic steering setup, make sure you put the shaft in first, because I had to take the motor back off, put the shaft in, and put the motor back on. That was a pain in the butt, but we got it. I did fire her up. She runs great, and I'll show you real quick. Won't fire it up for very long, but eventually what we're going to do, we're going to come back and fix all this. This is just a mess, and it looks just horrible. I'm sure it functions to some degree, but it just looks nasty. Since we got a 4-stroke and not a 2-stroke, I think a lot of this wiring can go, because a lot of it went to the oil stuff and what have you. But yeah, I'll fire it up real quick, show y'all, turn the battery switch back on. Yeah. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something, and all right, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.